form as Simple Sean. A lot more went into making that labeling decision than people might think. But as the boomers would say, what's in a name? Um, I will reluctantly inform you of your involuntary involvement of our social experiment. This is simulation number 5 of our online simulation. So that being said, this is an exercise in accountability. So anything that happens from here on out is your fault. If you're having a bad time, it's because you made a bad choice. So make a better choice. So here we go with the simulation. Wow, that went pretty good. Awesome. So terrible ideas for 1,000, working a little bit better, going good. So if anyone ever goes back and reviews these, we will notice that nobody really has a fucking clue what's going on. And that is 100% correct, because I'm really trying to figure out what exactly this is. I think I'm dialing it in. I think this is going to be a real life experiment to see if I can be like an AI friend, a real life AI friend to people. That's what I'm trying to be. The only difference is like your gigabit AI buddy, like you don't get to see the operating system work or know how it works. You're a person, so you'll know how I work, but I'll do just as many stupid things as the little gigabit is, because I'm programmed incorrectly. But I think that'll be fun. So in doing that, you kind of have to build a universe. So right now, we get to build kind of like a new guy, the movie. We get to build a universe. So, yeah, that's what's happening here. So this, if when things are real, and I'm not talking to myself, this would be like somewhere where you go over like current events of everything and what's happening and just make fun of shit. Kind of, kind of like a daily news show, only about the shit that I want, that I think you want to matter. There you go. And built processes to do that. Opening up an open source project to rebuild Google. Like if you could rebuild Google, how would you rebuild it? And I thought about it. I was like, I think to be able to use the internet, you should have to understand what it's capable of and what you're sacrificing. So I think everybody should have to build their own personal hosting server, so you can host like your Google, your personal Google. You take care of yourself, and part of that, the internet gets to put OneDrive inside of your host as storage for uh, for everything else. And then there's a hierarchy of that. Yeah. So yeah, that's something that nobody asked about. But that's so yeah. Gonna be a lot of philosophy, I guess, until something happens. And like one of the things I like to think about is the universe, and like one of the things that everybody talks about is that are we in a simulation, and who's in control of the simulation, and who's designing it. And the answer is I I want to believe, and I'm living as such, is that we're all in each other's simulations, and we choose whether or not we're an NPC, as a non-player character, or we're an active player, and we also get to choose whether we're in control or we give somebody else control. So we have the option to be all options, and through our choices we decide what that is. And it's interesting that that the NPC is like frowned upon as a character. Like that's my preferred life is an NPC. Like I can't die, and I can do what I want, what I like to do all day. If like I want to sit at a cafe and eat scones and drink tea, and then wander over to the park and read a book, and then go eat ice cream, and I could wake up and do that all again. Sounds like fucking fantastic deal. Now, if I'm like the guy that's getting run over or whatever in Grand Theft Auto, it's like probably not a really good deal. But like for the most part, NPC sounds like it could be a really cool deal. Um, which makes me wonder like what would the world be like if we made NPCs desirable trait? And that sounds weird. Um, um, yeah, we're gonna stop that one. I don't know if I'm ready for that one yet. But like the answer to the question is like, what is you? How would you fix things if you could fix things however you wanted to? And now that I've done that in my brain, it's like, well, what would happen if you tried to do it in real life? And up until this point, I've been like, well, you need money. And then last night I had the epiphany. Um, so I've been thinking about, I don't know where the question came into. I think it's because my parents like to play the lottery. It's just like, what would you do if you won the lottery, right? People ask me that all the time. Like, what would you do if you won the Powerball, right? And it gets to $1 billion. Everybody asks that question. Now, I haven't really ever put a lot of thought into it, um, because I don't play. Like the the adage is you can't win what you don't play. You can't win if you don't play, and I don't play. So like, why would I waste time thinking about it? And then I thought about pi. Like this is going to go off the rails for a second, but if if I'm right, this will make sense later on. But like I thought about pi and like how pi and infinity are the same thing. They're just they're a variable that matters that's in a measurement that's not being measured, right? So like somewhere between two and four, there's a barrier. Somewhere between me being one and you being one is a barrier of nothing, right? That's zero or everything. Like we don't know. It's the barrier between everything coming together and out to being you, and then everything coming out to be me, to be everything is infinity. Um, and like, yeah, so we jumped the shark there a little bit. Um, yeah, I don't need to stop doing this high. um, anyway, I fixed all the problems. Basically, what I need to do is is act like I would do this. And that's what I was getting. It's like, so so if you think about like it's a big circle, um, world is a big circle, right? So when I was thinking about it, it's like, why would I think about something that I have no chance of winning, right? But then I thought of that cycle where, well, if there's no chance of that happening, there is some chance of the opposite of that happening. So what's the opposite of winning, of of me winning something I didn't play is them losing something for something I am playing, right? Like if I like we play the lot, we pick playing the lottery to get money. What if the lottery picked me to give me money, right? So We put money into the universe, hoping that the universe picks us to give us some value. Um, but what if I just put me out into the universe? Will the universe come back and provide value? That was kind of deep. But yeah, it's so that's what this is like. How do I provide value with my idea and see if do the experiment to see if this is a terrible idea. The simulation in my mind to fix the world, um, and like there's no real direction, so it's like wild to figure out like how life is. But it's like the analogy I think I give right for this moment for me is like I'm trying to describe the caterpillar going into the cocoon, knowing all that it is entailed from transferring from a caterpillar to a cocoon, which has got to be like close to being suffocation, near death. Like it's got to be horrible, I have to believe. Um, but still volunteering to do it, knowing that you could be eaten while you do it. That's real bothersome for me. The difference between insane, like the moment that I'm in and finding out if the thing I know is insane, and unknowing of whether it is actually genius or not is kind of a terrifying spot to live. It's the anticipation is a lot of what it is, and trying to get to that point where like you're just there is, and we're getting there. We're getting there for sure. Uh, but like I was thinking in the shower, um, like where we are three people, like with third place, we are three people. We are ourselves. We are who we are with our people, and we are who we are to the people of our people, right? And those are three different. Sometimes those are three different people for people. Um, those are different stages that we live on. Like this isn't new, but like where we are right now is like I am three different people, or I was three different people, or whatever, and like they're all merging into this outside one, and it's a weird thing to not know the reaction, or not be able to anticipate the reaction, and anticipating the reaction is it's a big buffer uh, on like things flowing through your brain to your mouth. Um, but in any event, so I look into so the biggest thing is like we're the architect and we're in control of our own simulation, right? So you look at you think about that, and basically I'm trying to find applications where it would demonstrate that an individual is pulling the strings. So I was thinking of like calling this bit the Pat Puppeteer. Uh, Now I want to say that I'm jokingly saying that I did this. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering, but this is kind of a this is a weird moment of weird moment. Um, but it's I'm not saying I need to put this warning out there because I do know that a lot of the everything that I'm going to say is going to be very insane, and not going to make a lot of sense to people. And if you listen to it out of context, it can sound bad. Um, I'm not crazy. I'm not the bad. I am crazy, but I'm not the bad kind of crazy, I guess is the the adage that I come up with. So I want to say that in my mind, I know that this is a Dumb and Dumber moment where like you're saying there's a chance, but like at no point do I think I have any influence on any portion of the day-to-day and or anything else of Pat McAfee show and any of its constituents. However, um, firmly believing that in my head, um, the stupid side of me, uh, when I post something sarcastically at somebody, and then there is a reaction immediately the next day. There's a part of me that goes like, fucking yeah, I I did that. Um, uh, Whether I did or didn't is irrelevant, but like that's the thing. So there's moments where I did that, like where that happens, and I'm using this as scientific as observational evidence to prove my point that like a minute vibration can cause a a large reaction, right? Um, so like I'm just gonna take credit for like fucking I watch McAfee on a regular religious basis. I don't. I'm not saying this to say, think that I deserve anything. Just be like, I invested my time into watching the show, and I invest my energy into things that the team, for lack of a better term, uh, gets behind whether I want to or not. Like the U.S. soccer game is on literally right now, and I'm doing this because I hate soccer. And I was about to sit down on the couch and turn on the game, and I thought to myself, if I hate doing this more than I hate watching soccer, then maybe this really isn't what I want to be doing. So here I am because I don't hate doing this more than watching soccer. But motherfucker got me invested in this soccer fever bullshit. And then he said today this is not a universe ball. And I apologize for calling it a universe ball. Uh, I feel like, what is it called if it's not a universe ball? You didn't say you were going to sink the attempt to satisfy the universe. You simply said you were going to make an attempt every day that you're alive. Like, I wasn't disappointed that you missed. I would be disappointed if you just kicked it straight at the camera on the other side of the Thunderdome. It's just that you do the kick. Oh fuck, got off a little tangent there, but yeah. And then you're gonna like the second day after you make the proclamation, you don't do it. I'm like, fuck, man, you gotta at least try while we still have a chance, man. We're up 1-0 against Australia in the 40th minute. Like we're going to win the whole fucking thing. Miracle on melted ice 2.0. Um, but I'm never going to watch a game. Like I hate soccer. Um, I feel about soccer the way other people feel about pickleball. Like I really enjoy watching good pickleball. It's a lot of fun when it's good pickleball. It's enjoyable. There's a lot of nuance. Like all of the things that they say about soccer, um, I say the same thing about pickleball. And a whole bunch of people come up to me and say it's a terrible sport. It's not a sport. It's dog shit to watch. And you know what? I I appreciate your point of view now that I try to watch soccer. It's educated me on some things, and I'll enjoy the highlights. Um, so yeah, I'm actually going to try to cut something today, so that might be it. Yeah, if I can try that. Um, so yeah, I blasted out there, said I was guilty too. Said I was going to post my universe ball um, out there, and I didn't. So I did put myself out as like I didn't do it either. So hey, let's do better. And then the next day, uh, he made a point to say, uh, or was reminded by somebody to do it. They asked how much. Now I did say in my post that the universe added an extra zero as punishment, as a reaction for missing a day of commitment. But they did make it clear that it was only $50,000. Um, and and that they were going to do it every day that they were alive again. So that amused me. I want to believe that I was the origin of the change. Um, don't really think that I am, and don't really think that I matter. But that's kind of what God's perspective is, right? Like your God is. If you're trying to prove God, you got to prove experiences that you think that you could be in control of the entire experience for everybody involved, right? And that's a moment where it's like I don't think I did, but I could have, and I'm gonna hang my hat on that. And that's what religion is based on, right? We're just grasping at straws. Now the the next part is where I have a big buffer on. There's a lot of reaction that could happen that I'm not necessarily prepared for. I guess it's fucking crazy, wild, and stupid. Um, so I do think I would do. So here's the thing. I think I've solved. I think I broke the matrix. Like I've solved the problem. I think I can solve the housing crisis, the I had three of them: the housing crisis, fix the national debt, and wages with uh, a really good plumber, a Sterling engine, and that's gonna be good in the ears. Uh, and an old style refrigerator. It's not geothermal. Like I need some things, but I, I if you take what is the name of the fucking thing? Two. Oh, it looks like it's 2-0 in the 45th minute. So in some extra time, let's go to Gronk here and see if I can figure out what the hell the name of that thing is. So we got to fix absorption compression, and let me and change all of the fucking change the building codes. I can build a self-sufficient area that will rebuild the grid as the grid is needed to be built. And like there's $7 trillion that they're putting in to build the grid infrastructure, and we should just scrap the grid and build the grid infrastructure in with the houses. Um, the grid is actually backwards, I think. And I think you look at it like data nodes. If you had electricity like data, like it shouldn't be propagating from the top down. It should be propagating from the bottom up. So the individual nodes should always be getting what they need before the outer nodes. And then if when the outer nodes get more than they need, it trickles back down, and that's how the trickle through economics works as opposed to trickle down economics. Since the experience isn't a flowchart written on a blackboard going from the top down. um, but in any event, so I do think I have things figured out, and I want to try them. So the reason why I went into the lottery thing in the infinity thing is like I'm never gonna win the lottery, right? And if there's something, if you think about the loop, if we're at never and never is zero, so we've gotten there, what's on the other side? What's on the other side of that? And that is essentially, if we treat the universe, the lottery as the universe, and if we treat the lottery as a universe, and we're either buying into the universe, hoping that it's going to give us something, or giving the universe something and hope that it's going to give us something back, right? Like, it's the same but different, putting in different, giving the universe different things, giving it an idea rather than giving it a variable rather than a value. Ooh, man, I like it. I like it. I don't hate it. I'm giving it a variable instead of a value. Yeah, yeah, kind of, because like you don't know what's happening. You don't know what's happening. Um, you're a fucking space cadet, dude. So yeah, we're going to start an open source project to try and open source the actual building of things. Because if I treat this the way that I would have treated it if I magically won the lottery, so if randomly somebody gave me $10 million today, what would I do with it? I would do the same thing I would do if I won the lottery. I would take $7 million of it and give it to 1,000 people, $100 to 1,000 people every month, uh, as long as they maintain their employment status with the company. And the only thing that you have to do to maintain your employment status is pay your employment dues of $25 a month. Um, the reason why it's $25 a month is because the way that currency is transferred is at an hourly rate, and to be a member at this level, you need to provide an hour's worth of value to do that, and that's $25. That's what we have right now. And so you do that, we'll give you $100, and we'll do that for 5 years, which I believe is $7 million or $6 million. Yeah, I think it's like $6 million. No, maybe more. I don't know. It's more money than I'm ever gonna have, so it's not really worth worrying about. And then we just need a couple $1 million to like buy land and tractors and plumbing and shit and lawyers, because well, they're gonna be annoying. So if I have 25,000 times 12 is 300,000 times 5 years is 1.5 million. Can that be right? 25,000 times 12 is 300,000. No shit. So $300,000 a year times 5 years. It's only $1.5 million. I only fucking need $5 million. No shit. Math is so fucking hard. Yeah, I only need $5 million. I probably still need 10, but yeah. So basically, what we need to do is we need to fix the 4 pillars of society. It's very, very simple. 4 pillars are government, competition, art, and information. Um, so if you fix all those things, you fix the world. And I figured out how to do it. First thing we need to do is we need to fix the government, and fixing the government is like super fucking easy. Like we need to stop fucking caring about everything. Like we're really only in charge of 3% of our lives, people. Like, what's the 3% that you really want to be in? Like, what's the 3% that really matters? And then above that, like 20% of what you do gives you 80% of your pleasures. So like, what's the 20% that matters? And then after that, it shouldn't really fucking matter. So if you think about it that way, like what really matters? 80-20 rule. So if that's the case, then like we wouldn't need that big of a government, because the government won't be doing anything. So we don't care about anything. And the things that we care about, we're going to be taken care of. Kind of like the NCAA did with kicking that kid out of football for gambling. Like that's the equivalent of a hockey fight for reality. Like the swings aren't as fast as they are when you're on the rink, but like Texas Tech swung back and got into whatever, and then the league was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna throw this punch, and like now the refs have stepped in, and they're like, okay, if, just so you know, if you keep going, like you're gonna get a 10-minute misconduct. Right now, we're just all going to get 5 for fighting, and the 5 minutes is going to be all look like assholes for fucking doing shit. Um, and then you serve your 5 minutes of bullshit in the box, and you come back on the ice, and you guys play nice again. Like you don't need government to do that. You just need to fucking figure your shit out. Like you don't you don't need the NCAA to tell you to put guardrails on your payment system or the system that you're in control of. Put your own fucking guardrails on. Like you want to be able to drive 90 on the highway, um, but you want to make it so all of the idiots are safe. Like, you can't do that. Like if all the idiots are going to be safe, you can only drive 65. But if you got that nice sports car that's trimmed out and you want to get it up to 110, well, because the idiots are out, you can't do that. Well, maybe we should start orchestrating things for the people who drive within their capabilities, and let the machines, if we're going to go machines, like let the systems run, and let the people who know how to run them, and those who are going to be retarded about it, we put them in the right lane, or I don't know, in England if you're the left lane, in the slow lane, and like you putter around there and stay safe, and the rest of us are going to go and like do stupid shit, like keep it simple stupid. Like the retards have been in place long enough where they're trying to keep everyone safe, and we need that. We definitely do. But I think it's time we get back to a little bit of simply stupid, and do that. So I'm gonna put the open source thing out there, and fucking make a page. I've got a Stripe account. Like fucking put a page out there. Be like, hey, credit card or PayPal, $25, and if anybody does it, then like there's a reaction. Um, but the first things that we're going to open source is like, I think we all need to, like, if you want to be on the internet, you need to know how the internet works. And I think I want to open source 3 options for a home server that we can like either build, and we can like put together and ship as a package, or we can put together links and somebody can buy them themselves. Um, but they're open to do whatever they want to. But then we also like open source the software, the minimum software that you need on there um, for blockchain. Like we're going to use the hard drives that we have on their servers that are going to be the ones that we're going to pay for, because like we're going to pay, like we want you to have this, and so we're gonna pay for you to have it, but you're gonna be in charge of like monitoring it and keeping it going. And that's your fee for the internet, is you managing this node for us, and like that's how the internet is paid for. Like do we need to advance? Like we're gonna open source all of that. So like that's the part that we need to come up with, for the tech side, for the information side. Um, the art side and some of the government side, we're going to need to design blockchain. Not really a word, it's not a blockchain um, for like value. It's just a blockchain to monitor information. Like from what I understand, if it's on the blockchain, like you can limit access to it. So we could put everything that we have on our blockchain would be information that can only be accessed by um, employees of the company, but it would also track, like employees would have access to it, but it would tell us like who's who's copying what and who's looking at what. So we would have like that information for our information, and what that would go on would come up later on. Like we would decide that later on through different entities and different actions and reactions. But like that's basically the way the information would work. I don't think we need to track anything until we need to track something, and then like I think it's the what is they did they say in the little video that I watched, zero trust authentication. So like you have access to every, instead of it you don't have access to anything, you have access to everything until something doesn't give you access. So you have access to it until the internet agrees that you should, like, we should be monitoring who has access to it. I think that's an interesting way to go about it, but I don't know, maybe that's probably dumb. So that's the servers and the other things I need to figure out. Like I've developed, like I literally I'm fucking doing it in your brain. So I did design uh, a home that is like they say self-sustaining or whatever. Um, it isn't. It's self-sustaining, and that all you need is um, a mirror as an input. Now the wild thing everybody says when I describe this to them is like things don't work that way, and it'd be very expensive. Um, and I don't dispute the fact that it'd be very expensive to like rebuild a community. But if you think about it, as not just rebuilding. Let's talk about my investment banker hat on, right? You always look at the future gains or like what it is, and I don't have an investment banker hat, but it's like you're looking at the total gain that you get from doing this, like where you are going to make housing cheaper because you're not going to have any large utility bills. You're going to make upkeep cheaper because everything is going to have a small uh, part that can be easily replaced, and that's handled through a different mechanism in the community. But it's easier to be replaced because you can usually get one there in an hour or two. Most of the parts will be that interchangeable. Um, and the only input is going to be the sun and rain. So basically, to do that, like a design that heat is an amazing thing. Like I watched something yesterday that we used to have refrigerators that were that didn't have Freon in them, and like this is how I've been approaching a bunch of different shit. But like, what is it called? That's not it. An absorption refrigerator. Like basically, they lit one side of this thing on fire and had I don't know how it fucking works. But they light it on fire, and they have ammonia water in it, and like the ammonia in the water gets boils super hot or something, and then goes through some fucking mouse maze and cools off really quick, and then like get the water freezes and it makes all this cold air, and they pump that into the refrigerator, and that's how a refrigerator worked until like for like 25 years or some shit, and then they stopped it because of Freon. And now, I don't disagree that since the refrigerator hasn't taken any advancement and home construction has not taken any advancement, and like thinking about this shit, I don't know who does it, but I fucking do it to a point of a very horrible obsession. Uh, None of these things have really changed. So what I've done is like rebuilt everything. So if you do the absorption one and change the heat source to a, instead of having a flame, you could use a the sun with a solar trough or parabolic mirror or whatever to warm up some medium like water and or salt, and dump that heat into a heat battery like sand and or rock and or something that's a good heat sink. And you dump all of that heat and put that as your heat source instead of flames. You can create cool all the time and have like a pretty regular heat source to it. So you'd always be able to handle this cooling apparatus. And if you built the kitchen so the refrigerator had a hookup for this, and you design the refrigerator to work kind of like the old school fire pits where they have the exhaust that runs through the walls rather than straight up and down, and you like actually siphon this stuff like through the walls and the trays or whatever, like that's got to help with the cooling after the door's been open for a while, because the surface area is so much colder. And we all need trays and whatever, and we fucking manufacturing's come a long way. So I think the downfall of the refrigerator, if the proper work was put into it, could be like super cheap. Now you have this heat source and you have all of this cold source, so you can also use this mechanism as a way to obviously heat and cool your house with like a split whatever unit or whatever. But basically, you make a Sterling, you have that, so you continue that for the whole HVAC. So now your price, you've taken like 60 to 70% of of your electric use is gone like that. Like you're not using any electricity, you're just using the sun and some physics. So you fix that. And then the other part is we have all of this extra heating and cooling that we can use in a cycle. You can hook up a Stirling engine to recover that heat. So you put the cold side where the cold side is and the warm side where the warm side is, and you just keep that cycle going. And the Stirling engine is a piston that moves back and forth, so you can spin something, create a pump, spin a turbine, whatever it is. There's a company in some place somewhere, Texas, that has like a 200 kilowatt version that's made, and I think in my calculations to build the rest of my system, if we got one that made somewhere around 5 kilowatts from the heat difference between the hot and the cold, you would be able to do the rest of the electricity and water filtration with a Stirling engine that can consistently produce somewhere around 5 kilowatts of power. Now, this isn't in my mind, we can design the water battery, which I think is probably the long-term solution, because you can just use the anode whatever's to make the battery go. And I don't know how the flushing of it works, and like I'm sure some EPA person is going to tell me that it's an issue, but I don't give a fuck. We're obviously going to take it into consideration. We know the risks and how important safety is and whatever. So why don't we design knowing that there is a risk? And if you don't want to take advantage of that, you don't have to. Like if you don't want to have the water battery because you'd rather pay for a regular battery because of environmental reasons or whatever, then that option should be available for you too. But like building and using the water battery and ammonia, I think they have toxic stuff in them. So I think the toxicity of Freon and the damage that Freon can do and some of these other things that we have proven to be of equivalent danger or more. And none of it is insignificant danger. So if we're going to be in danger anyway, why not be in danger in a way that's not going to also be wealth and whatever way expensive? It's like we can definitely build, like with the way we've advanced in all of the things, like you can definitely build a safe. There are things that we use on a day-to-day basis that are worse than ammonia and all of the battery stuff. but we're okay being close to now because of advancements in something. So like, what if we applied those advancements to the other things? And I don't know what they are. Like I said, this is an open source thing because I'm a kinetic. I'm not a kinetic person. I'm a potential person. And basically, a potential person sees all the possibilities. A kinetic person is going to do all of the things, and an experienced kinetic person is sees all of the ways that it can go wrong, and then they become a potential person. So that's how that goes. So I'm a potential person that's moving, so some of that potential is turning into kinetic, and that's where we're going with the physics reference for today. I think we're going to do a short one today. I don't know. I think it might be at an hour anyway. We're getting there. I got to set up those things. Um, and yeah, get those set up this weekend. And Monday we'll have put it out there to see what kind of nonsense it is. But hey, now I'm gonna go eat, since Cat Williams said you don't eat for a show, so you stay hungry, and I certainly am hungry. So remember, there is no action without reaction. So react with purpose, react promptly, and if possible, react